Welcome to Giant Cocktails, a podcast where two lifelong fans talk about the San Francisco Giants while drinking homemade cocktails. Now, here are your hosts, Ben and Matthew Henry.
Welcome back to another thrilling episode of Giant Cocktails Midweek Review. I'm your host, Matthew Henry, the maestro of Mound Talk, here to orchestrate all things Giants baseball. And with me, as always, is the man who doesn't just lead the team, he redefines the game. The chief of clutch hits, the commander of cocktails, the one and only Ben Henry. So pour yourself a drink and get ready, because it's time to mix up some baseball brilliance with a splash of cocktail magic. Let's jump right in. Shall we, commander of cocktails?
Let's do it. Now we know, Matthew, why the Giants don't have any clutch hits, because I'm the chief and I'm stingy.
You are stingy.
I'm totally stingy. Hey, boss, could I have a clutch hit to drive in these 2 runs? No.
But you also redefine the game, so there's that.
That's true. The game should be like whichever team plays in the lowest scoring games overall at the end of the season wins.
I like that. That's novel. Yeah.
That would only really work though if nobody knew the rules until the end of the season. And then we just open up the card and be like, surprise!
It's like when you're playing a game with like a toddler and they just keep making up the rules.
That's right. Can you imagine if we did play baseball that way? You just played based on last year's rules, but then you didn't find out what this year's rules were until the season was over? And like there might be some wacky rule like that'd be like, if you're in last place, you're in first place.
That's right. If you released 4 of your players on the last month of the season, then you all of a sudden win.
Whoa, Matthew, they were waived, and it was only 3 of them.
Okay. All right. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But before we're getting ahead of ourselves, before we do that, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, yes. Oh, Matthew, I am drinking a cocktail that we have not put on the show before.
Shocking.
And that's because I don't think either of us have really liked Dry Vermouth. I don't even know that it's that we don't like it. We just never had it, and we assume that we don't like it.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Okay, you don't like it. You're sure. You're sure. All right. Well, Matthew, today I am drinking a Martini. Now, if anybody orders a Martini and you're a bartender, your first words out of your mouth should be, how do you like it? How do I like it? Well, I like mine with 2.5 ounces of London dry gin, 1/2 ounce of dry vermouth, and then 3 olives, preferably stuffed with nothing. No blue cheese, no anchovies, and I don't even know what a pimento is. And no, I'm not going to look it up, but I don't want it in my olive. Okay, so what you do is you take your gin and your vermouth and you put that into a mixing glass with ice. You stir that for 15 seconds, and then you strain it into a pre-chilled martini glass. And then you put those olives onto a cocktail pick, and then you put them in your cocktail. And that is how I like my martini. You might like your martini with vodka. That's a vodka martini. You might like your martini with no vermouth at all. That's diluted gin. I like my martini in a 5-to-1 ratio. And that's what I'm drinking today, Matthew. The 5-to-1 London dry gin martini. With an olive. 3 olives. Although in the picture there's only 1, because these olives are really big, Matthew.
Yeah, they are big. All right. Well, enjoy your martini. It is a shocker that we haven't done it yet, but I think it just kind of speaks to our palate.
Yeah. I think people like dry martinis because they don't like dry vermouth.
Right. Yeah. Same. Okay. All right. Well, Ben, I am drinking today a cocktail that I found. I should know the history of it, but I don't. It's called the Embassy Cocktail. It's not an original. I just found it. It's got 1 ounce of cognac or brandy, 1 ounce of white rum, 1 ounce of Cointreau, 3/4 ounces of lime juice, and 1 dash of Angostura bitters. You put all of those into a cocktail shaker with ice, give it a good shake for 15 to 20 seconds until it's well chilled. And then you're going to double strain that into a chilled coupe glass. And I garnish mine with a lime wheel. You get this very refreshing cocktail. It's not overly sweet, but the Cointreau provides enough sweetness, I think, to make it a nice balanced cocktail with the lime juice, and the Angostura bitters kind of provides a little depth. So it's a pretty yummy cocktail, and I'm enjoying it. So that's what I'm drinking today, the Embassy cocktail. All right. Well, Ben, what are we going to talk about today? You know, we've gotten to the point of the season where breaking down each game really isn't all that revelatory. But some of the things that we've seen lately have brought up some questions about the managing skills of two-time manager of the year, Bob Melvin. So we are going to dig a little deeper into whether Bob Melvin has been an effective manager this year. Then also, I don't know if you knew this, Ben, but we are now 5 months into the season. And as we've done the previous 4 months, we always kind of check in and do a little review. And so we're going to do that. Who are our MVPs? Who's the unsung heroes? And then, of course, who is our most improved? So we're going to do that. And of course, we'll finish with our usual lightning round. Ben, today is Wednesday, August 28th, as we record this podcast. The Giants did not win today. They're playing the Milwaukee Brewers right now. They just finished their second game of the series. They are 1-1 so far. They won game 1 and then, of course, lost game 2 when inexplicably they decided to leave Kyle Harrison to the Wolves in the 5th inning today. So they're 1-1. Doesn't really matter. They're 67-67, 2 games above homeostasis, but I wouldn't be surprised for them to fall back to homeostasis within the next week. So that's just my feelings on this. I'm over pretending that they're going to make the playoffs, or frankly, that they're even very good.
No.
No?
No.
What do you mean, no?
We have to tell the standings, Matthew. This is the show.
Don't.
This is the show.
No,
This is the show.
On the Sunday show we do. On the midweek review, we don't talk about the standings.
We don't. We don't talk about the standings. You've just decided just now, no longer talk about the standings. Last week we published the RIP 2024 Giants episode, and so therefore we no longer have to look at the standings.
That was my thought. Yeah, like why waste some time on the standings? I'm not wanting to look at them anymore. Okay, yeah. Then the third team out of the wild card. Yeah, the Chicago Cubs are better. Yada yada yada. Yeah. 2.6% chance to make the playoffs, and you were really wondering, according to Fangraphs.
Does that mean I'm now more likely to get audited?
You are. You're definitely getting audited.
Yeah. Yeah, a level 3 cleric now has a better chance of channeling divinity than the Giants have of making the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Understood.
All right. Well, this has been a rough year. It was not the year that I think the Giants had envisioned. Certainly not the year that I had envisioned. And I just was wondering, like, how much of this falls in the lap of Bob Melvin? And because you and I have talked a little bit about this, but I know you agree. We haven't really been impressed with the managing skills of Bob Melvin. I haven't seen something there where I'm like, wow, that's a real winning manager out there. Like, no. I think Stephen Vogt, who was also in the consideration for our manager, is having a much better year than Bob Melvin. And I just wonder, like, did we make the right choice?
I don't know, Matthew. I think one thing is that he is different than Gabe Kapler. And I like a lot of the things that were different because I think that a lot of the things that were wrong with Kapler's regime were problematic. And I think definitely had lost the locker room. I was super excited about Melvin being hired because he came with a great pedigree. A 2-time manager of the year. He had taken lots of teams to the playoffs. He had a long track record. He had a lot of experience, which I guess is the same way, saying the same thing. So I thought we were getting a good manager. But I have to agree. After watching Bob Melvin manage for 5 months, I don't really look at what he's done and say, wow, that was really great managing. I don't think I've felt that way at any point during the season. The one thing that I will say is that he does seem to have the ability to let players win jobs prove themselves, and then he'll change his mind about you, change his opinion about you. I still think he has a very strong opinion about certain players, and he really lets that opinion influence whether or not those guys play, how often they play, whom they play against, and not only that, I think even impact who's on the roster. And so we had something happen today that kind of makes me wonder if this is Bob Melvin kind of throwing his weight around. And just so everybody's clear, what happened today was the San Francisco Giants placed Thairo Estrada, Taylor Rogers, and Matzek on waivers, which means that if another team claims them, the Giants lose them. This is not something that the Giants can take back. This is not something that they can undo if somebody else claims them.
I wonder that too. Thairo, you could make a case that maybe he doesn't belong on the roster. He's been struggling so badly. But Taylor Rogers, that was a bit of a surprise for me, particularly with their pitching depth being such a challenge lately. Why are you exposing Taylor Rogers to waivers with the risk of losing him, meaning you'll get nothing in return, and meaning you're going to have to replace him with somebody that's clearly way less talented. And so yeah, I wonder if Melvin has been like, I'm not using him. This is not my guy. And now he's forcing Farhan to make a move. I'm not seeing the logic in this one.
Well, there is, it doesn't seem to make any logical sense on the surface, right? Taylor Rogers is the weird choice here because Taylor Rogers is having a good season. Overall for the season, his ERA is 2.45. His ERA plus is 1.60. In his last 5 outings, he does have 2 outings where he gave up a run. One, he took the loss in the 10th inning, and that run wasn't even his run. It was the Manfred runner. And then he let up a couple of runs in the game against Atlanta where everybody let up some runs when they lost 13-2. Other than that, he's been really effective. But what's weird about him is that he is clearly he's the lowest man on the totem pole in terms of left-handers. Eric Miller is definitely Melvin's favorite lefty reliever, which is neither here nor there. Like, if you feel like Miller is more effective than Rogers, fine. But it's not like Rogers is not pitching well. And now you're just giving him away for nothing? Like, you don't feel like you can trade away that $12 million for next year? It just seems very, very strange. But what is clear is that Rogers is just not ever being used in high leverage situations, right? His brother's getting used all the time in those situations, much to your chagrin. You'd probably rather see Taylor come in than Tyler.
Yes.
But yeah, he's not getting used. And that's because for some reason, Bob Melvin doesn't like him. Why doesn't Bob Melvin like this guy? He's very good. It makes no sense.
I think it's just because he gets confused between Taylor and Tyler, and one of them's got to go. Matzek's first name is Tyler. Maybe they meant to release both twins, and then they just made a mistake.
Oh, but they got the wrong Tyler.
Yeah.
Well, that's good they didn't waive Tyler Fitzgerald.
That's true. Yeah.
Because that would be a boneheaded mistake.
Yeah.
People have made mistakes like that in the past, Matthew, where they waived the wrong guy with the same name as somebody else. That has happened. But yeah, so it just feels like Taylor Rogers is not Bob Melvin's guy. But the thing is, Matthew, it really does feel like Melvin has his guys. The guys that he trusts and the guys that he doesn't trust. And even though I've said that guys can play their way onto the team, it feels like he's not really good at picking who the right guys are and who should be playing.
Well, yeah, it seems like those that have broken out unexpectedly did so only because they were forced themselves on, or there was no other alternative than to play that player like Tyler Fitzgerald. And so it clearly looks like he's got his guys, and you're right. And then furthermore, just his game management, his pitching management. Today, Giants are in must-win mode. And you get into the 5th inning, and Kyle Harrison's walked a couple guys. His pitch count is getting up there. He's thrown 20. He's getting up in innings, pitches within that 5th inning. I think he threw 25 pitches that inning. Just you're starting to kind of see some fatigue. They even did a mound visit to kind of check in with him. And then before you know it, there's a double and a home run, and you're like down 5. You went from 1-0 to a 5-0 deficit in a matter of minutes. And it just seems like they they're not really reading the room and deciding when they need to make a change. And the only thing I can think of is unless they've already decided, well, we're not making the playoffs. And so it doesn't really matter what we do. Let's have Harrison finish this inning.
Well, yeah, I think that if they have given up, leaving Harrison in that situation, I like that move. Especially if you go out, do a mound visit, and then you check in with him and you say, like, how are you feeling? Do you want this guy? Like, what do you like? And then you, as a shot of confidence, you leave him in. I like that move if you've decided that the game doesn't really matter. If the game does matter and it's a must win and every game's a must win right now, then you should have had somebody ready the moment he was at around 20 pitches in the fourth inning. And once that first run came in, it should have been the hook, if you're trying to win. But the thing is, like, I just don't feel like Melvin has a great feel for the game when it comes to making these choices. I think he makes practical choices based on what's going to happen tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, I think he does an okay job of trying to, like, manage the workload of his bullpen. But at the same time, he's used Taylor Rogers and Ryan Walker like a huge number of times. Yeah, I just don't like his overall game management. But the thing that bothers me the most about Bob Melvin is that this team has not seemed like it's been well prepared at any point during the year. Problems come up that are so obvious, you and I are talking about it on our show.
Right.
Like, we're two old men sitting in our closets. We're idiots. If we're talking about it, it's only because somebody way smarter than us has written a story about it. And that seems to be when Bob Melvin decides it's time to fix something. Our batters are letting too many first pitch fastballs go by. Our pitchers are letting too many guys steal bases. We're not trying to steal as much. It just feels like this team is never well prepared. And I know this is a problem that predates Melvin. They keep getting dominated by no-name replacement-level starting pitchers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I agree. I think one last point before we move on. The Padres got rid of Juan Soto, Blake Snell, and Bob Melvin, and they now have the third best record in the National League. So yeah. Mike Shildt has led that team to contention, and so kind of makes you wonder, like, they weren't really eager to keep Bob Melvin, and so you just wonder what maybe they saw something that he wasn't all
right.
that.
Well, do you know one stat that the 2023 Padres were really bad at, Matthew?
No. What?
They really sucked with runners in scoring position.
Oh?
That's 2 years in a row that Bob Melvin has led a team that's awful with runners in scoring position. Now, I know runners in scoring position, it's a magical stat. It's just bad luck. It's only bad luck if you're bad with that stat. So Bob Melvin has really, really bad luck. Maybe that's reason enough to not have him be your manager. The man's just got bad luck.
All right. Well, we spent a lot of time talking about this, but now we got to move on to 5-month check-in, Ben. And on this one, I think we should just plow through.
Yes.
Because we have enough. We've seen it. But this is just going back to the last 30 days. Who's your big-time MVP for the last 30 days?
It's Matt Chapman.
Yeah, that would be the logical one. I'm not surprised you didn't say Michael Conforto.
I almost did. But now I got to stay on brand, man. I got to stay on brand. That's my pick anyway.
It's hard to argue that Matt Chapman hasn't been the most effective player pretty much all year, but even in the last 30 days, he's definitely been the guy. But Conforto has done pretty well as well, so I would put him in there. But you know what? He's not even my MVP. Neither of them. Logan Webb. Logan Webb is my MVP.
Okay. Well, yeah.
If we're going to, and I think we tend to focus on the offense, but Logan Webb has been really good over the last month plus. And so he's my MVP for the last 30 days.
I am going to throw an honorable mention out to Ryan Walker because he's taken over the closer role. Holy crap. Ryan Walker's ERA over the last 30 days, Matthew, is 0.
Oh, wow.
In 12 games.
That's pretty impressive. 25
Wow.
strikeouts, 2 walks. He's been a stud.
But I'm sticking with Matt Chapman to counter your Logan Webb.
Okay. All right. I think we're just going to have co-MVPs on that one then.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Unsung heroes, though. They're guys that, every month that kind of fly below the radar, but have really good months nonetheless. You got anybody in mind for that?
Okay, Matthew, I'm going to throw a couple of unsung heroes. That's Tyler Fitzgerald and Blake Snell, because they didn't make it to your MVP nominees list. So I'm going to throw them on here. But you know what? We've talked about those two guys way too much this season.
Which is kind of why I left them off the list. I was trying to get a little bit new names, new people.
That's not how this works. You're not the MVP because some other guys won it too much. Man, that's the Gen Xer in you talking. Yeah, that's your participation award right there. The good guys get the awards. The scrubs are scrubs, and they're lucky to be there. All right, but really, unsung heroes. I'm gonna go with Mark Canha.
Right? I was actually kind of surprised. I mean, how under the radar the guy has been. He is one of the only guys that's hitting over 300 for the last month since he came on the team.
In his 16 games, he's hitting 302 with a 380 on base percentage. His slugging percentage leaves a little to be desired, but his wins created plus is 13% above average. I mean, that's perfect unsung hero territory. Yeah. Right. And he's just doing yeoman's work. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And just, he took over the spot that was held by Wilmer Flores, and outside of the lack of power, has done a really good job. So I think that he's definitely a candidate for unsung hero. I'm going to go back to the pitching side again, and I'm gonna give you Spencer Bivens as a candidate for unsung hero. A 2.70 ERA. He's just a 1.2 WHIP over his last 8 games during the month of July. Or August, I should say. So Spencer Bivens is my unsung hero.
There's really not many. Okay, you did Spencer already.
I could just tease you about you not wanting to say Grant McCray.
Okay, I'm putting this guy on the list. Matthew, because last week I made fun of you because you were ready to anoint him as one of the 3 starting outfielders for next year. It's all about the new hotness for you, Matthew. And I have to agree, he's actually been pretty good, especially on defense. I mean, I think everything that he's done with offense has been fantastic. He's hit a couple of home runs. It's Grant McCray.
Grant McCray, that's right.
Unsung hero, Grant McCray. That's my nominee.
I like it. Thank you for acknowledging at least right now, the greatness of Grant McCray. I get it that there's still a little proving that needs to be done, but he's done a great job coming up, and so I think he deserves unsung hero nominations. All right, but who are you picking? Who's your number one guy?
I think it's Grant McCray. No, this is tough. I'm going to go with Canha.
Yeah, I think I got to go with Canha too. He's been there longer, and he's definitely been more solid. So I'm going Mark Canha as well. Yeah. All right. Our favorite category now, Ben, most improved. So what we usually do is we review the previous month's list to see who maybe improved and who didn't. So our July candidates for most improved. Oh, this is an interesting list. It's Camilo Doval, Brett Wisely, Sean Jelly, Michael Conforto, and Tyler Rogers.
There's only one choice on this list.
Michael Conforto's got to be it, right?
Yeah, you're totally right. Camilo Doval. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
The guy that got sent to AAA after we'd put him on the most improved nominee list.
And look, since he's come back, hasn't given up a run.
Okay.
It's been great. Okay, he's only pitched in 2 games? and was kind of the same Camilo before he went down. I don't know what they fixed by sending him down.
Yeah, not a whole lot changed. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, Doval is work in progress, but he has been more successful than he was. But yeah, it's Conforto. Unfortunately.
Yes, Michael Conforto. Yeah, I mean, by process of elimination, everybody else.
Well, 2 of these guys went to AAA.
Yeah.
And one of them's still there. And Sean Jelly is just turned into like...
He's fine. He's fine.
He's the punching bag right now.
Yeah. And Tyler, of course, had his bad inning and all that. So I think, we're good. We got to go with Michael.
Yeah, we can't go with Tyler because that one game. And that was the game that I think that was the straw that broke the back.
But now we got a new slate. Slate. So, first of all, anybody playing second base for the Giants. But really just Tyro, I guess, right? Because they don't really have anybody else that plays second base right now.
Yeah, I agree. Tyro, and he may not get a chance to redeem himself.
He probably, well, we could check in with him when other team claims him to see if he redeems himself.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
Who would be your candidate for most improved?
I'm going to go with Kyle Harrison. And I think that's the second time I've nominated him for this award this year. And overall, I'm just not seeing it, man. I'm just not seeing, like, I'm seeing like number 4 starter guy. Which is not bad. It's not bad. But it's not where we wanted things to be. He just looks like a number 4 guy to me. He has some flashes of greatness, and then he just always regresses back to number 4 starter guy.
Well, it just seems like whenever he loses control, that it backfires immediately, and so he needs to really hone in his wildness a little bit before we can expect more. So I would agree with you. I think that's another one. I'm going to add the other rookie pitcher. I'm going to say Hayden Birdsong.
Okay.
And not his fault. He started the season in AA. He got brought up. They probably wasn't part of the plan. But they're relying on him, and he hasn't really been delivering lately. So I'm going to put him as a candidate for most improved.
The man is a man, and he's also a major league pitcher. It is completely and totally his fault, and he definitely belongs on this list. Look, it's time to put your big boy pants on, man. Like, stop coddling these children.
All right. And our last candidate, who we've already discussed at length, Bob Melvin. Bob Melvin deserves to be on this list.
I don't see how he can win this award.
Yeah,
I don't see how he can win this award.
He might be doomed. Yeah,
he's doomed. Yeah, he's definitely not winning this award. Maybe this next time we do this, Matthew, the season will be over. So we'll pick our MVP and our Unsung Heroes of the year, and maybe our most improved of the year, and then we're gonna have to just dump on somebody. It might be Bob Melvin.
It might be Bob.
It's time for a lightning round.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Ben, you sent me a text today. I don't know where this came from, but somebody in some comment section of some Giants publication likened the 2024 Giants to spending a month in jail. Do you think the Giants are as monotonous as spending a month in jail?
Okay, to be clarified, this was posted by, I believe his name is... At least that's how I pronounce it in my head when I read his name. It's Ololol, and he's commenting over there on The Athletic. They likened that to like just that was like a monotonous month. Now they said jail was worse than that. There were bad things about jail besides the boredom. So they weren't equating the Giants overall to being in jail. But anyway, he said that watching the 2024 Giants is like being in jail for a month. Especially the food.
Yeah, he said there were 2 slices of white bread with one piece of bologna in the middle with no condiments or anything in it. That's all they got to eat. I'm surprised that the Giants don't have that on their menu at Oracle. Yeah.
Yeah, they sent me an email about a survey about how they can improve the park experience. I should fill that out. I'll put that in there as you should serve 2 pieces of white bread with a piece of bologna in the middle and charge $25 for it. And call it Melvin's surprise. Oh, or the plain old Giants.
You and I have never spent a month in jail, but I got to imagine that this is true though.
Yeah, we have the testimony from one person who has experienced both, and they say they're the same. So yes.
All right. I agree. All right. Here's my question. Okay.
Should the San Francisco Giants fire Farhan Zaidi?
My heart says yes, but the mind says no. Logically, it just doesn't make sense. I feel like there's too much that would have to be undone at this point. And I feel like one more year would at least give a little bit more opportunity for the plan to kind of, I say plan. The whatever they're hoping to do would come to fruition. So I think you and I don't know if there's anyone out there that's going to do a better job, and at this point, as well as they would have to really just kind of dismantle everything. And I just think that puts the organization back a number of years. And so I think Zaidi gets another year because of that.
I disagree that whoever comes in would have to dismantle anything. I think they might want to, but I don't think they would have to. I think if you're smart, you evaluate what works and you keep it. And what isn't working, you change. You don't have to rebuild everything in your own image. But that being said, I agree with you. If I was the super rich owner in this particular case, I would mail it in for a year. I would go play a bunch of golf. I'd come back in a year and see where things stand. If things look great, I'd go, wasn't expecting that. Cool. And then I would be like, or I would look up and I'd be like, yep. And I would probably fire Farhan sometime mid-August next year.
Okay. Stay tuned for Giant Cocktails August edition 2025, where we're talking about Farhan being fired.
Well, I mean, if Fitzgerald and Ramos are coming off the All-Star game and are competing with each other for the MVP award, and Harrison and Birdsong and Webb are all competing for the Cy Young, then no problem.
Right. Yep.
If. On the other hand, if things go how we expect them to, goodbye, Farhan.
All right. Last question, Ben. Will the Giants make the playoffs?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, roll those dice.
Yeah, this is happening. Yeah, I was waiting for the odds to get this low, Matthew, before I really felt like the value for the bet was there. And now I'm going to jump in because I really feel like this is the point where, like, as a value bet, this makes sense.
All right. Well, yeah, they're not making the playoffs, folks. Okay.
No. All
right. Well, looking ahead, Ben, we got the Miami Marlins after we finish up this Milwaukee Brewers series. The Gabe Kapler Revenge Series is what this is. Gabe Kapler, now the assistant general manager of the Miami Marlins.
What? He's the assistant to the branch manager, and this is his revenge series? Like what is he? He's the masseuse. He sweeps up after the game is over.
He doesn't sweep anything.
What?
He's the assistant general manager. He gets the general manager coffee.
Yes, he's the assistant to the general manager. That's what I said. Yeah. Get your revenge, anyway. Kapler.
All right. Well, other players to play for both franchises, Ben: Cody Ross, Rob Nen, and Benito Santiago, who were battery mates on the inaugural Marlins team in 1993, and then again later with the Giants. So that's kind of cool that Rob Nen, as a 25-year-old, made his major league debut with the inaugural Miami Marlins.
Some reasons to hate the Miami Marlins.
That's right.
They knocked the Giants out of the playoffs with a collision at home plate with JT Snow.
Oh, I forgot about
Kevin Brown pitched for them. We hate that guy, especially me. That's reason enough.
See, reason enough. Yeah.
And they didn't cherry jazz to the Giants. And that's a wrap on the Midweek Review, folks. Thank you for joining us. We will be back on Monday with the big show, where the cocktails will be stronger and the rants will be longer. If you can't wait that long to get your fix, feel free to reach out to us on the social medias. You can find us at Zuckland, where we go by the username Giant Cocktails. You can also find us at SpaceX and Dinosaur Elephant at the same username. Don't forget, you can also listen to us on YouTube. So run over there to like, subscribe, and comment. Unfortunately, folks, we do have 13 subscribers now. Hey, you could be the Andres Galarraga of our subscribers if you go over there and click the subscribe button. But most importantly, be sure to leave us a positive review, like 5 stars positive, on your podcasting platform of choice, a.k.a. Apple Podcasts or Fitzgeraldify. Matthew, you were congenial today. Keep up the good work. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers, Ben. Bye, everybody.
It's hard what?
It's hard to be congenial when the Giants suck this bad, so I'm trying hard.
I think we just got to get over it. We got to get over it. Oh, by the way, this was our 9th episode ninth to last episode while the Giants are still in the current season. If you think about the last episode of the season, which would be on the last day of the season, being outside of the season. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is episode 9. T-minus 9 episodes and counting until the off season. What was I supposed to say? Oh, goodbye!
Thank you for listening to the Giant Cocktails Podcast. Until next time, bottoms up.
Oh my God, I went to the first sporting event, the first home game at Emerald High School today.
Oh, which one was it? A badminton game?
Well, no, it was a football game. But get this, Matthew, this was girls' flag football.
Nice.
I didn't even know this was a sport.
Yeah, they're just starting to bring that out, yeah.
The Emerald High School girls lost 30-0.
All right, well, I can't even think of anything witty.
You can't think of anything witty to say?
Because the Giants suck so bad that it's just sucking my soul right out of my body.
I mean, they don't suck so bad.
Okay. They are like so freaking mundane and boring that it's sucking the soul out of my body. I might go just like rob a bank so I could spend some time in jail. It might be more exciting than.
I think the robbing the bank part would be very exciting.
It would be.
Yeah, I'll probably come visit you.
Okay, maybe I'll just jaywalk or something. It's a little bit.
That's not illegal anymore.
Oh, that's true. It's not.